Yeah, these sunrises might be the part of Green Cove Springs that I like the most. There's a boat over here that's still showing his anchor light, and I'm still showing mine. You do have to be careful here because there's a policeman who likes to jump in his boat and drive around, and if he sees people, and I should point out he does this from the land as well, if he sees boats with no anchor light, he sometimes comes back later in the day and writes a ticket. That's what I've heard anyway. Okay, let's go. Let's go. Okay, always hang on. Feet on the rub rail. This looks dangerous, but I've done it a lot. The key is to always keep your feet, your weight center line on the dinghy. Okay. Yeah, baby, baby, baby. Come on, that little stinker. Okay. Lady. Boink. Okay. Let's get a line across. So the painter is your mooring line. I guess you kind of figured that. Well, when you're in a place called Green Cove Springs, one thing you should always do is check out the spring itself. So the setup here is way different than what I'm accustomed to, because they got the whole darn thing fenced off. And I suppose what else could you do? Because this used to be a spring. This is a spring itself. You can see it goes way down. I think it's like 40 feet deep visually. You can see. I think you can see about 40 feet deep. And it used to just be a very small river that would flow out here and go directly to the main river, which is like not even a couple hundred yards. But what they have set up now is that this water is filling the pool, and then the pool itself overflows and goes out to sea and goes into the St. Johns River, which is fine. So what I'm accustomed to in most springs in Florida is that usually for an admission price you can jump in and you can snorkel in the springs and go swimming, but this one is so small I don't see how that would be reasonable. So maybe this fence that you see is necessary. Probably some dumbasses fall in and drown too. So if you're coming to Green Cove Springs, there's really three choices. You can go to the Green Cove Springs Marina, which is a private marina that is around the bend, around the Navy piers and all the way down. We're going to go there next and check it out. Or you can anchor here. So down there at that marina, you pay you know, whatever their fee is. They have a limited number of slips, and they have some mooring balls that you can pick up. The prices are lower than almost any place else I've seen, but once you're there, it's kind of remote. We'll go check that out in a few minutes. The second choice would be to anchor here, and this is what most people do. They anchor out here in the open anchorage, and some of the boats are pretty far out. You can see Tautog, she's over there kind of spinning with her stern to us right now. I'm 6 foot draft, and I have about 2 feet of water below the keel right now. And this third choice is around the bend, a place called Governor's Creek, and we'll check that out after we go see the first marina. So let's go check it out. Green Cove Springs was once the site of, I think, 10 very long docks, and then US Navy used it as a mothball fleet for some of their shallow draft vessels. I really need to do more research on it and maybe find some old pictures, but the river is not deep enough to get big ships in here, so I don't know what ships they kept in here, but the docks still remain, even though they're kind of falling down. And 2 of the docks on the southern end are being used as part of this city marina. The dock on the northern end appears to be used to hold these old riverboat cruise ships, and they apparently are not in service in any way. So it's kind of like, I don't know, like a dying area. Well, let's go check it out. I would not ride my bike on a road like this. I'm not sure if those are vultures or what. Too many of them. And for that reason alone, I would not choose the Green Cove Springs Marina or the mooring field down there unless I had to get hauled out. It's a cheaper place to get hauled out. I can't speak to the quality of work, but a lot of people have their boats there, that's for sure. Okay, we're in another boatyard, and some of these kind of give you the sense that this might be where some boats go to die, even though some are quite expensive. I mean, that blue one here, that's an island packet, and those are not cheap boats. It's actually pretty depressing, you know, to see all these dead and dying boats here. And that's just the way it is. I mean, people buy boats because they're full of dreams and life, and they want to do all these things. And in some cases, I mean, some of these boats still have mooring lines on them and stuff like that. And it's just, and usually the story is the same. It's usually a case of, usually a guy, usually an old white guy, who buys a boat and he's full of dreams of what he wants to do and where he wants to go. And before he can shove off, you know, life happens, and life events, somebody dies, or somebody becomes gravely ill, or the man himself becomes gravely ill, and then boats end up like this. I mean, they're owned by somebody, they get put in long-term storage, and then they at last they end up in a boatyard like this, kind of where boats go to die. Very depressing as a boat owner. Well, here you have it. I'm not sure exactly what dock I'm at, but there's one dock and another, and that continues that way as well. Kind of like very poor repair, and a lot of them appear to be privately owned now, or maybe they're leased. I don't know what the exact status is, but there's nobody using them, just military leftovers. And over here, that big thing, that is one of the big hydrogen fuel tanks for the space shuttles. Obviously not still in use. How it ended up here, I have no idea. But that's what it is. Okay, and this way to get into Green Cove Springs. Okay, so this is what they call Governor's Creek. I mean, that's the creek right down there. That's the creek itself, but you know, there's some housing on the one side, and there's a boat ramp, which is available to anybody who's in the county. Yeah, that's a lovely sound, but hey, that's the way it is, and that's reality. So if you stay at Governor's Creek, you're going to get the noise, but you do have the boat ramp, which is close, and across the street, you have a shopping center which has a laundromat, it has a Mexican restaurant, a Mexican grocery, has Ace Hardware. The Ace Hardware is awesome because every time I walk in there, they give me free popcorn, so I sometimes never leave. And there's a dollar store, which is where I'm going today. So really, I mean, it's convenient. If you're stopping in Green Cove Springs and all you need to do is knock out some laundry and do some shopping, this is probably the place. There's a big Winn-Dixie further up the road, about a mile, so they say. I haven't been there yet, but I'll go tomorrow. So I think as a boater, I draw 6 feet and I can't get very close, so I'd be anchored way, way out there if I went here. But if you draw a shallower, if you have a shallower draft boat, this might be a pretty good answer. It looks like. And sometimes this is how I drive. Just cross the road like a wild man. Not too bad. Yeah, so it's not perfect, but not too bad at all. I like Green Cove Springs. I always wanted to go because I'd heard so many people say that's where they go to lay over for their season, or that's where they go to get boatyard haul-outs done. Yeah, and there's a lot of facilities there that can help you out. I mean, it's a bit small townish for some people. I think it probably wouldn't like it. I know for me, driving on that highway on the bicycle is just a non-starter. I wouldn't want to live like that for more than a day or two. That was pretty rugged. So I like Green Cove Springs. I'm going to give it a thumbs up as far as a place to go, you know, and a place to do haul-outs for sure. It has a reputation for being maybe crime, having high crime though. Like if you leave your boat there, everything that's not tied down is going to get swiped. So there is that. But if you're going to go to the Green Cove Springs and you're going to be on your boat every day and you're going to do your own work, okay, that's a pretty good place to get some business done. So that's Green Cove Springs. So by the time you watch this video, I'm going to have left Green Cove Springs. The timing is right for me to make my jump downriver. I'm going to get winds that are favorable at the same time as I'm going to get a current going downriver. So I'm going to take the run, make a run for it. The objective is to get closer to the Jacksonville Naval Air Station because this coming week is going to be the Blue Angels and the air show. And another reason is that we're going to get a blow coming through. The same weather pattern that's going to hit the rest of the country is going to hit us a little bit. And we'll get a couple days of northern winds. And I want to go to a place with better protection from the northern winds. So, that's where I'm going to go. So, with that, cheers everybody. This is Russ from Sailing Vessel Taut Talk. Have a great day. I appreciate your comments. And I'm going to close this video out with the testing of my cabin heater. I'll show you that in a second, what I'm doing. And the new thing on the list, which we're going to tackle tomorrow, if the weather's good, is why is my new dinghy already got a flat? You know, oh my God. This is a expensive damn dinghy. And 3 of the tubes are solid and 1 of the tubes is not solid. So now we've got a new job on our hands. Fix a leak. So we're testing the Force 10 heater. Got the fire extinguisher standing by, ready for action. This is the same thing I cooked on for months. It's liquid alcohol. And it seems to be working just fine. I mean, the heat at the top, I mean, you could, and it's made to be, it's made for, it's designed for this, but you could cook up here. It's very hot on the top. Very hot up here, not so much in the sides. So it's not a good radiator per se, but I think it would heat the space pretty well. So I'm just gonna. The real disadvantage is you can't stop it. Once you pour the liquid fuel in there, there's really no reasonable way to turn it off. So it really, you can't. You certainly could never leave it unattended. You know, in cooking. That would be very, very dangerous. Yeah, so obviously you would never go to sleep or leave the boat with this thing cooking because it's not secured in any way. If it tipped over, we got a fire on our hands. So I've got to be very, very careful for this test. This is mostly a test to kind of determine feasibility, to see if it works and if it would work to heat up the cabin. And the answer is, yeah, it would. So I mean, the little aluminum can that's cooked, the little burner, it in itself is not attached to the base, and this stove itself is not attached to the base, because I'm feeling how hot this is getting, and it's pretty goddamn hot. In fact, it's burning the varnish. That's not good. So you can see the varnish is burning. So I need a new plan. I need a better wooden base that doesn't have any kind of finish on it. And I've got some old bare plywood, you know, that I can use.